Mr. Chairman.
Sure, Senator Corner.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to speak briefly on the way the chairman handled the markup on Vanita Gupta. I think the chairman's established a new precedent by which any chairman can then cut off any debate on a nominee. And I think that's bad for the committee. It's bad for our ability to engage in the constitutional responsibilities of advice and consent. And a committee that operates without rules, that gives the chairman the ability to cut off debate, invites a brawl, verbal if not otherwise. And I just think the committee needs some order. We need some predictability, even though we all disagree on occasion. We need to be able to respectfully state our positions and appeal to our colleagues, perhaps to change their mind. If not, then to at least make clear what our position is. And I think the nominee that the chairman chose to do this with is, as you know, one that I strongly opposed, Vanita Gupta, because of the documented fact that she lied to the committee about her previous position on decriminalizing all drugs, including marijuana, for personal use. I think we shouldn't tolerate witnesses or nominees lying to the committee. I have, along with some colleagues, referred her to the New York Bar Association to investigate whether a basis to take disciplinary action against her as a member of the New York Bar should proceed. That's their decision to make. Even if the committee doesn't have high standards with regard to truthful and candid testimony, I believe that the legal profession should and does, and we'll leave that to the New York Bar. So I just think that this is a terrible new precedent that the chairman has established. It's unfair to our colleagues who weren't able to express their views on this controversial nominee. And for what? I think the chairman perhaps saved maybe 1 day or 2 days on this nomination before she could have been confirmed as she was. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I'm not going to revisit that nomination. We do disagree, and we did over and over again on the floor. But I will say this. I was instructed from the minority side of the committee that the 2-hour rule was not going to be invoked. And I was prepared to let everyone speak for as long as they wanted to speak. Then a member of this committee went to the floor and invoked the 2-hour rule. I was told that 5 minutes before noon and given a stark choice of just letting the committee hearing end at that point, and then we went into a recess for a week, and I announced we were going to vote on this matter, and I did. I would like to avoid this type of thing in the future. The problem we face is very obvious. It's an 11-to-11 committee. There is no majority on this committee. The only majority is when we make one, and so I'd like to strive to reach a level of confidence and respect where we don't have this happening again in the future, and I'll do my best to achieve that.
But, Mr. Chairman, each senator is a free agent and is not bound by agreements that they don't make or commitments they don't make. So the fact that somebody chose who was free to make that objection on the floor did so, it was within their right to do that, and unless they made a commitment to you personally, which I would say should always be honored, those kind of personal commitments, then that's no excuse for breaking the committee rules.
Senator, if I had been told that the 2-hour rule was going to be invoked, it would have been a different process.
May I ask who told you that? You certainly didn't ask me. You didn't. I don't know. Maybe you polled the committee and asked all the Republicans whether you're going to go to the floor and invoke the 2-hour rule. But I don't know who the commitment was made to, and that senator cannot bind me as a United States senator to some commitment they might personally make. I would hope that each of us would honor our commitments to one another, regardless of the circumstances. But again, no senator can bind me or any other senator from invoking that on the Senate floor.
I don't know whether I communicated this to Senator Durbin or not. He may remember whether I did, but I left about 11:15 with the understanding that there would not be the 2-hour rule invoked. And when I had to go back to my office, and when I came back, I was told the 2-hour rule was going to be invoked. And I don't know whether I communicated that to him, but that was my understanding.
Mr. Chairman?
Just one last point I'd like to make here. We were in touch with Senator Schumer's office and Senator McConnell's office that indicated they were not going to invoke the 2-hour rule as well. And that was what I based my decision on to go forward. If I'd have known it was going to end at noon, I would have conducted the hearing differently.
Mr. Chairman?
Who's seeking recognition?
Here.
Senator Kennedy?
Mr. Chairman, with respect, every senator has one vote. And I understand the seniority system, and I understand leadership, and I respect that. But, and I'm management. Our labor, I'm not management, I get that. But my vote still counts, and my voice still counts. And I think Senator Cornyn makes a very good point. Another senator's agreement with you can't bind me. Now, if you come to me and say, Kennedy, do you agree? I'll give you a straight up answer. And I won't lie to you, and I will stick. But I just don't think it's right to cut off debate. It's the only voice we have for our people. And I just want to associate myself with Senator Cornyn's remarks. I just think, with all due respect, Dick, it's a bad precedent.
Well, Senator Kennedy, I'm trying to create a more positive atmosphere here, and the unusual circumstance of that day created a challenge I didn't anticipate. If I know that the 2-hour rule is going to be invoked, there are different things we can do to deal with it. But I wanted to bring it up because I hope we can at least try our best moving forward to be mindful of the realities, the political realities of an 11-11 committee, the precedents on Rule 4, and that we can have real bipartisanship. I think that's what people...
If I could make one more observation, Mr. Chairman, if that circumstance arises in the future, and I know this is time-consuming, but I also know you have a great staff, I might suggest you just check with members of the committee before you check with leadership, which has one vote just like me.
Understood, but the procedure is, and I've been part of it many, many times, the procedure is when the decision is made to go forward, leadership will enforce it. If one member calls your leader or our leader and says, I want to invoke the 2-hour rule, the leaders may try to persuade them otherwise, but if they want to go forward with it, the leader's office is going to do it on the floor. They're the ones who are present on the floor while we're meeting in committee.
Well, that doesn't mean I can't go to the floor.
No, it certainly doesn't. But the Senate operates by mutual respect, and I hope we can return to that.
And that's my point.
My point, too. And I think we agree on it.
Thank you.